What's up? What's happening? George Balekji here with Foxborough Rush. But hey, check out the latest episode of Hold My Banner. Travis Thomas and Ante Campbell, as always, go through the NBA, but especially around the trade deadline. De'Aaron Fox, what makes sense for him, what it means for Brittany Griner joining Atlanta and the Dream in the WNBA as well, and they go around the league as always. That's Hold My Banner, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime, wherever you like to listen. You could also watch on Nesson's YouTube page, Facebook, and Twitch. And if you're watching on Nesson's YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, go to any of the clips, any of the full episodes, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. We'll get back to you in those comments, and those always join the show. That's Hold My Banner for everything you need Celtics and everything you need NBA. Now let's get to Rush. What's up? What's happening? It's Foxborough Rush, peeps. Yeah. GB and Double TT. How we doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man. Talking some ball with you. I know we're talking Senior Bowl here, and we're going to have our boy come in here, and you guys are going to nerd out on all these positions that I don't care about. But we're talking football, so I'm happy, GB.
Hey, we got a packed show. Yes, we're going to be talking Senior Bowl. It's always fun to talk prospects. You guys know it. It's I Nerd Out. Keagan Stiefel is Travis's boy. He's not my boy right now. He's got some explaining to do when we bring him on.
Okay.
Trav, I watched Friday's episode. Little Beef, you know what you said. We talked about it.
It was my fault.
I haven't spoken to Keagan yet.
You can't be mad at
No,
Keeks.
It's not your fault, because I want to say you're the adult in the room. But as someone that works with you every day of the week, I have to be, even though there's like a 30-year difference between the two of us.
30 years? That's what we're doing?
That's my revenge.
I'm grandpa now.
That's my revenge, bro. So you going, George is gone. We're throwing a kegger, baby.
George, let me tell you about football back in my day. We didn't even wear helmets.
Yeah, they were leather, no face masks. Real men played in the polo grounds. We'll be talking Senior Bowl. We'll also be talking free agents the Patriots should target. Because as much as we want to talk NFL draft, free agencies before it, and a lot of issues on the roster can be solved in the free agent market. Also, Mike Vrabel continues to build out his staff. We'll take a look at that. And look, Chiefs could become the first 3P ever in the history of the Super Bowl era. Does that mean they challenge the Patriots to be the greatest dynasty ever? Trav and I will go into that. But let's bring them on. Let's get it started. It's Senior Bowl time. Let's bring in our boy Keagan Stiefel. Keegs, good to have you on the show, man.
What's up, pal?
You bring a 30 rack with you or anything? Or?
Listen, if you want to take on the role as my mentor, you're going to have to take on the subtle jabs. When Dad's away, the boys will play.
That's it.
We were just having a good time.
We had a good time, man. We cleaned the place up for you. It doesn't look like we had a kegger. I mean, what's the problem?
Look,
beautiful.
Everything was spick and spam.
Yeah.
You guys did a good job cleaning up.
Yeah.
You know what the giveaway was one time for me throwing a party?
Oh, no.
Paper towel roll was full. And my mom was like, you never replace that. So where did all of them go? And I was caught dead to rights, man.
That is suspicious.
I feel like New Jersey house parties are probably a time, especially in 2013 you were throwing those bad boys. That was height of Jersey Shore
Project
era.
X.
It's tough.
Jersey Shore came out when I was a freshman in high school. House parties were being thrown then.
You were living,
dog.
Me, as somebody, I'm a little bit younger than you guys. I recently went back and watched Jersey Shore as an adult for the first time. Maybe the best television program that ever made.
Jim Tan Laundry,
so
baby.
Funny. And
the worst people of all time. They got them all in the same house.
You know what?
Unbelievable.
You know what? Those are my people, Keagan.
That's right.
When I tell you that the way they acted, like pre-gaming, all that, that was mere copy of what my boys and I did.
Yeah.
Minus a heavy drug use and steroids.
Of course.
It was very accurate with the tank tops,
George,
gelled hair.
When I get dressed, I still say it's T-shirt time.
No, same.
I still do it.
That was also very accurate. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you had your tank on underneath.
Yep.
And then you go, all right, we're gonna leave in 20 minutes. Time for the t-shirts.
That's
to come
right.
on. Gotta keep it crisp.
Yes, crisp.
Also, not to turn this into a Jersey Shore episode, which we should do at some point. I think it would be great television, great podcasting. Mike, the Situation was like 32, and Sammy was 21. I want people to know that stuff. People don't go in, they don't look, they don't Google. These people, half of them were in their 30s, half of them were like, high schoolers essentially.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Very odd dynamic.
That's crazy.
On. Sammy Sweetheart went to William Patterson, my hometown.
Is that right?
Yep.
Big Sammy Sweetheart.
Let's get her on the show, bro.
Big fan.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on.
Paulie D was from Rhode Island. Like no one was from Jersey, which is a funny part. It was like Staten Island, Long Island, Rhode Island.
Sammy played college soccer.
At William Patterson.
Ronnie, stop.
She was teammates with my high school gym coach.
Ronnie.
Not a protein shake. She brought me a slice of pizza. Never forget that.
I'm going to bring home 3. All right, sorry.
No, what were you going to do?
Shot, kid.
No, I couldn't finish that one.
One shot, kid.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go.
That's it. All right, let's get into Senior Bowl, man. Talking about seniors, senior elderly people in the Jersey Shore. Let's get to Senior Bowl. Super important for the talent assessment process of the draft, especially you get those guys in person.
Yep.
Players that are looked at fourth, third rounders can work their way up. Guys that are fringe first round picks. And I think what's important is you get prospects out there that are playing in non-power 4 and you go, yeah, he looks good, but he's, taking on a MEAC offensive lineman. He's taking on a SWAC defensive end. I want to see him against the ACC Big Ten. That's what it gets. So, Keegs, we bring you on. We want to talk about it. Every time I walk by Keegan's desk, the Senior Bowl is on. I am not lying.
On the big TV, too. I've overtaken the office.
Well
not
done.
shocked at all.
Well done. Who's standing out to you? What you've been watching, what you've been reading, what you've been seeing from the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not down there. At some point, somebody's gonna have to pony up the cash to get your boy down to Mobile.
You and me, let's go. Let's go.
Listen, just so people know, one of the first thing that's jumped out to me, really, without a single player being mentioned, is the offensive and defensive line groups are stacked. Which, what a year to need offensive and defensive linemen for the Patriots, because these guys, whether they're a first rounder, a third rounder, a sixth rounder, I think you're going to get really good talent all over the draft. So really good year to need those two positions. And one of the guys that pops out to me right away, Ariante Ursary. Me and George are going to get into it a little bit about him because he feels kind of the opposite way I do. But when I look at him, big ass dude out of Minnesota, and he's a mauler, right? And that's kind of what I'm looking for out of a right tackle. I think the Patriots need to upgrade both tackle spots. I think he's the perfect guy to come in, whether you get him at the end of the first round, the beginning of the second round, you're going to have to figure out your left tackle at some point there. But if you can bring him in and have him work with a veteran offensive line coach who really just needs tools to mold you into a starting caliber offensive tackle in the NFL, and Doug Marrone, I think Ariante Ursary checks all those boxes. You can get him for a little bit cheaper than somebody at the top end of the first round. So I've really enjoyed him. He's just been kind of bullying people down in Mobile, which is awesome.
Yeah, look, 6'6", 330. So Woo! The frame is there. That's what you want, right?
Jeez.
Big boy.
That is a guy that paves the way. But at 6'6", 330 and still new to the position and new to football, he started late actually playing and getting acclimated in the Big Ten. He was a left tackle for the Minnesota Gophers. And this is a guy that's around a first-round talent. To me, it's destination, it's location, right? Like we saw what Kingsley Suamataia being drafted by the Chiefs did. He didn't pan out. All right, they had to move Joe Thuney. That's a team that can afford a guy like a Kingsley Suamataia who's a project. Ursary, really big. Don't love his feet. Don't love his athleticism. His pad level gets high. He raises his anchor. His arms and his hands can be loose where he gets outside of the pad level, and that's not good either. But, Keegan, you make a good point of you got Doug Marrone. That's a guy that's been coaching for 30-plus years. He's been an offensive line coach in some facet for over 20 years. So you get his hands on Ariante Ursary, then that can work. For the Patriots and for his price in the draft, too rich for me. Can he work somewhere else where teams can be patient? Yes. For the Patriots, I don't know.
George, you spent a lot of time in the Midwest in your career. Why are the human beings that come up playing football
corn-fed
so big?
Corn-fed.
Is it the dairy? Like, what's going on out there?
Yes.
I don't understand.
That's what it is. He's a Kansas City, like Missouri guy.
Oh.
Same thing, though. You get those corn-fed boys. Like, they legitimately, you'll get in the sticks of Missouri.
Yeah.
The kids that are on their dad's farm at 4 a.m. to 7, go to school, football practice. So,
sheesh.
Hey, corn-fed, baby.
You can tell if a guy grew up on a farm by looking at his neck. Like, if his neck is thicker than the rest of his head, if his head goes down like that, his neck is so thick, that's a country boy, and that's what Ariante Ursary looks like. He is. If you want to build an offensive lineman, it looks like him.
No, and I get it. It's just his footwork it looks slow to me. And when you have to mirror the edge rushers you will see at the next level, that's my red flag. So
listen, one thing I will say, we're going to move on from him, but think of a Marcus Cannon, a guy who was your right tackle for a very long time here. Footwork wasn't the greatest, right? Wasn't the best athlete on the field, but he was so big. And his frame, he could get so wide and take up so much space that really all you were worried about was, give Tom 3.5 seconds and you're golden.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the same thing with Drake May? I don't know. But in terms of run blocking and a guy, if you want to get downhill and punish the other team, this is who you're looking for right here.
No, I get it. So who else jumped out at you aside from Ariante Ursary?
I'm going to go opposite from him. Same position, but very different profile. Josh Conerly. Not the biggest guy in the world.
Oregon.
Coming out of Oregon.
Yep.
His frame's definitely a lot smaller than Ursary's, but the footwork, his ability to mirror edge rushers, which we've seen, like the Senior Bowl is awesome because you get these really long and rich instances of one-on-ones where it's, all right, this guy's going to face every single edge rusher on the other team probably 3 or 4 times throughout the week. And you get to see how they counter, going up against the same guy in one-on-one situations.
Right.
How they work in multiple different spots because they have them both working on left and right side. Conerly was on the bad end of a really viral clip that came out of the Senior Bowl. I would argue every single other rep he took was fantastic, right? He got beat once.
Yep.
But can you come back and have success on every other snap that you take? If you're taking 65 to 70 snaps a game, he showed that he's absolutely capable of doing that. So I've loved that. I love the profile, like younger guy, a little bit smaller, but he can put on weight. I think you can add to his frame. And he plays on the left side, right? That's a left tackle through and through. So
yeah.
I've really enjoyed watching him play as well.
He's 6'4", 315. Exactly. Like, get him to 325. He carries it well, though.
He does.
And to give him the comparison, Deion Dawkins for the Bills, 6'5", 320. Doesn't carry it well, but he gets the job done.
Yeah, he does.
So it's a lot in his base and in his legs, which you want with the anchor. And to your point with the viral clip, like everyone's going crazy, and I understand it was Michael Green of Marshall, right?
Mike Green, yeah.
Mike Green. Michael and I go way back. I call him Michael.
Yeah, you and your boy.
I mean, it was a sick bull rush. Absolutely blew up Josh Conerly. But that's also like for everyone going, man, that's what puts him on my radar. I mean, the drill is one-on-ones in pass pro. So Mike Green can load up and go, I'm just going to bull rush this mother effer and just get him off guard. Okay, now put them in a game setting. Put them in 11-on-11s. Is it run? Is it pass? What's happening? Is it an RPO? There's so many more responsibilities, and Conerly can fit in that. I really like him coming out of Oregon. Yes, Ohio State embarrassed the hell out of him. But that is a defensive line with a bunch of NFL guys on it. That defense was sick. This is a guy I think can develop, and I like him a lot more. Former basketball player in high school is good, so the athleticism in him and the footwork. And you know where he fits? San Francisco. Like just a system like that.
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah.
Both teams that are going to need him. LA could lose Alaric Jackson. San Fran needs to know what they're going to be doing with their left tackle. Like, in a system where you need athletic linemen that can pull, that can move, and get it done in pass pro, that's where a guy could see fit. I would love the Patriots to get him. Again, won't be there, though. Like at 4, no. 7, no. Maybe if they I don't want him to trade that far back, so I'm not going to get into those deets.
Yeah.
I like Conerly, though.
I also like these guys that go to these big schools like this because you don't have to worry as much of them jumping off sides. How many Sundays, George, have you and I yelled and cussed at the TV? Because when you're on the road, the
Not use
crowd's
those loud
loud.
stadiums.
A lot of these cats aren't ready for the moment. But these linemen who come from these big schools, as many big games as Oregon has been in, they're used to being disciplined on that line. They're used to hand signals, some of the different things that you do when you have to deal with an opposing crowd that's insane, like you do every Sunday in the NFL.
Yeah, he worked with a veteran quarterback at Oregon, too, which is funny saying a veteran quarterback when you're talking about a college guy. But
well, he's 40.
Right, 6-year guy. And hopefully, I hope we have time to get to Dylan Gabriel because I have thoughts.
Well, he hasn't been doing well, right, Keegs? That's what I've been reading.
No. You want to just jump into it now?
Do it.
Go ahead.
Dylan Gabriel is a tiny person.
Hey,
come on.
With
you're
all due
not
respect,
tiny, bro.
No
I love
short
my
king
guy,
slander.
George.
You're a short king.
I
don't
love my short
tolerate
king,
it.
George. But I don't want him playing quarterback for me, right?
That's fine.
So,
I wouldn't want me
I
playing
don't want a
quarterback
little
either. I am a
itty-bitty guy.
slot. I am a slot.
I don't want a
back.
little itty bitty guy behind there.
Already?
Can't see over the
What are
offensive
you
line.
doing?
Itty bitty,
Stop.
bro.
Listen, I'm
Vertically challenged.
What is he, a mouse?
Yeah, itty bitty.
itty bitty tiny little boy.
I want Dylan Gabriel to walk into this room right now. He would probably house you into the wall.
Nah, Keegs
Probably, but
Keegs
I'm
would be like,
stocky.
Keegs would say, "Sit down, little man."
Oh
Just
my
saying.
god. All
Just
right.
saying.
What do you want to say about Gabriel? Leave out the itty bitty.
He's a smaller guy.
Undersized.
An undersized guy.
Diminutive.
All right, come on.
What I will say, my least favorite thing about seeing him this week at the Senior Bowl
Yeah.
is how just inconsistent he is.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where when you come out of college and if you've been a 6-year guy, you've played at 3 different schools, the one thing I'm looking for is consistency.
Yeah.
And I understand that they're really learning a new system in 1 week and trying to develop on the field in front of our eyes, and we see it. It's really not a great spot for the quarterbacks to be in. But I've seen him struggle from down to down. He's pulling the ball down in 7-on-7 drills. He's unable to hit his checkdowns. It's stuff that, as a veteran, as a guy who's had as many snaps as he's taken, you're not able to do the little things in an offense, quickly. The stuff that they're teaching you, all right, if you don't have this guy open, you're going to check down, whatever it might be. I'm not seeing that from him, and that's not a great sign when you're looking for a guy. Possibly, I think what he profiles as a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
and if you're not picking up stuff like this, you can't play backup quarterback for me. So
true.
I'm all set. Respect to Dylan Gabriel, great collegiate career.
Yeah.
Got his ass kicked by Ohio State. Shouts out the boys.
Yep.
But, it happens. Your career ends here, I'll say.
Yeah, and that's the guy of everyone's watching, like, wait, he's going to be undrafted? He's going to be like a 5th or 4th round pick? And it's like, I understand it.
Yeah.
I see it. To me, it does start with the size. Mm-hmm. And he's a gamer, but there are gamers in the college level, and then you get to the NFL, everything's faster, everything's bigger.
Yep.
Everything has to go quicker, too.
Right.
Yep.
And that changes. So, yeah, with him struggling in that setting, it's tough to see. And that's it. His ceiling is a backup quarterback in the NFL. With his skill set, there are offenses that will love to have him on their roster.
I think, coming out of the same program, Denver. Yes, exactly. Bo Nix, throw him. You can be his backup.
Yeah.
You ran the same system.
Yeah, he could
You're
be
coming
his
in,
backup.
you're essentially going to run the same system in the NFL.
Right.
So you know it right away.
Yeah.
But when your options are that limited, like that's not the quarterback I want to be taking. I'll take a guy who has traits. 10 out of a Joe Milton. I'll take that 10 out of 10 times and see what I got. Because worst case scenario, all right, he stinks. Let me go sign a veteran for $2 million and I'll be all right for a year.
Yeah. I mean, I think Milrow's probably the only project like that in this draft.
In terms of the athlete,
yeah,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the knock on him's accuracy, but he's a physical freak.
Oh,
so
right.
It's like he may be a stash and develop guy possibly, but to your point, Gabriel being undersized, I'm just not interested. I don't particularly like Milrow either. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying he's a little more, better athlete, and then you want to teach him the nuance of the position.
Yeah.
We've almost been scared out of saying, maybe this guy should switch positions. The Lamar Jackson, Bill Polian thing has scared everybody into saying it because Bill Polian said Lamar Jackson, he's a wide receiver in the NFL. 3-time MVP, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the best quarterback in the NFL in terms of pure talent.
Right.
Ridiculous take. Jalen Milrow cannot
hold on. What you just said is a ridiculous take? Best quarterback out of pure talent?
Polian.
Oh, because I would say that too, Patrick Mahomes.
All right, dude.
Wait,
Whatever.
Keegan said something about Patrick Mahomes on draft day?
No.
No.
Keegan is saying Lamar Jackson, pure talent,
like,
is the best quarterback in the NFL.
Pure talent could be the best quarterback in the NFL. George thinks it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Listen, I don't care. I'll take either one of them.
Yeah,
Bill Polian, ridiculous take, agree.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jalen Milrow cannot throw the ball past 15 yards down the field. He cannot read a defense.
He's not accurate.
He can't throw it less than 15. His deep ball is phenomenal. It's when that leaves his
I'm
hand.
thinking outside the numbers, but absolutely, you're right.
Exactly. But like when that leaves his hands outside of the numbers, and again with the talent he had at Alabama, Jalen Milrow is one of one with that pass, and obviously the upside and the ceiling he has with his legs.
He's got a cannon too, right? He can throw it 1,000 miles an hour.
But what do modern day defenses do in the NFL? We're going to give you 10, 15 yards, maybe 20. You're going to take it, and then when stuff gets tight in the red zone, we're going to lock down. And he can't take what the defense gives him.
That's right.
He's like, there's being inaccurate, and there's being naturally inaccurate. And that's what he does, is the short to intermediate passes. You watch his legs. You watch what he does with the deep ball. Exactly. Can he be a stud, just Taysom Hill?
No.
Put him places.
Bro.
Tight end, running back. Just line him up.
Listen,
let him
he
throw
can play
deep once a game.
He can play quarterback, George. You know what it's going to be.
Jalen Milrow can.
Ask the Colts. That's what he is. He's a smaller Anthony
But
Richardson.
do you want that guy as your starting quarterback? I think that's the
or
point,
your backup,
right?
like
Give
a hit
me
away for
real,
starting for 7 games.
Give me a real starting quarterback, and then like George said, a Taysom Hill or Anthony Richardson in a prime situation. You're down in the red zone. Now you could be my quarterback down in the red zone.
Yeah.
Because we're just going to run your ass straight up the middle,
Right.
and you're going to knock somebody in the mouth. Like, I'll take that. I'm not taking the guy who... It's 2 minutes left. We need to go 86 yards to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
No shot I trust this guy
Outside
to be my
of
quarterback.
Ward and Sanders, who do you really like quarterback-wise?
Quarterback three combo is
I
heating
hear
up.
Ewers a lot, but I don't. I mean, you could pick apart his game
Jackson
too.
Dart.
Right. I think Jackson Dart's probably number 3. I think Will Howard with what he showed throughout the playoff, but that he's still like a run first.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be perfect for him. I think the same thing for Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard is not a passer of the... I think Riley Leonard's closer to Jalen Milrow, but not as good of an athlete as he is to a good quarterback. So I would say there are 2 quarterbacks in this draft.
That's it.
I'd be willing to take. The rest of them, projects.
Yeah.
Will Howard would be a perfect backup in New England, but you have Joe Milton.
You're all set.
That's right.
Same. Like he's a Drake May light. He's not as fast. He's not as athletic. That ball is not the same. No. He cannot make the same throws.
No. Right.
But in that system and everything he does. So, yeah, the QB3 conversation is looking like it's going to be Jackson Dart. And then it's like, okay, but when do we see QB3 come off the board? You know, it could be pick 45. It could be pick 55. It's going to be Cam and Shedeur Sanders in the first round.
Yep.
Demand of the position always drives up the price.
Yep.
I just don't see it with Jalen Milroe. I just don't.
I also don't know if I see that the demand will be there this year.
Yeah.
I think there are enough teams who feel comfortable with what they have. Like, how many teams are actually looking like we need a quarterback?
Yeah.
Cleveland, maybe, but they'll be in position to take one of the top two guys. Tennessee, obviously, like, Will Levis is not the guy. No. But past that, are you willing to take one of these rookie quarterbacks early enough to where you're essentially wasting a draft pick, and then you're still going to be looking for a quarterback after next year?
Keegs, we have a great example of this already playing out in front of our eyes. All the rumors are saying that Russell Wilson's going to be reunited with Pete Carroll out in Vegas. That tells you right there that they are literally punting on a quarterback this season. You know, Russell Wilson being a bridge guy, and then it's a much stronger quarterback class next season in the draft. So I think teams who could be quarterback needy may just punt and get one of these bridge guys out here available in free agency and you know, deal with it next season.
You know what? You know who Jalen Milroe is? Malik Willis. But Malik Willis made a living out of, is the screen open? No? Go. It's like look and go, look and go. That's what he's doing at Liberty.
But Malik Willis went to Liberty. Like, this kid is roll tide.
He competed in one games in the SEC.
That's right.
But you get a Jalen Milroe with someone like a Matt LaFleur who is winning games with Malik Willis.
Yeah.
That's a setting he could be in. But again, like, you have to go with a gadget offense, a gimmick offense if you want to go.
It's not going to last, right? That'll get you one or two. No. It's not going to get you anything.
It's not sustainable.
You know who's been jumping out at me, Keegan, and Trav? Like, who have I said time and time again I want? I want Pat Bryant out of Illinois. 6'4", 215, free. Yeah. Jaden Higgins out of Iowa. That I am other side of it all. Like, if that guy is there, you don't wait for him, you take him. He's great in tight windows, his contested catches. This is what I've watched from watching him. It's not from the Senior Bowl what I picked up, but like when I've done my stuff during the regular season of college football. His route running is really far along, and he's good as an in-breaker receiver. Hey, Drake May loves throwing over the middle of the field. He said it time and time again. That's his favorite place to throw is over the middle. The speed isn't there to be an honest deep threat, but again, NFL offenses, like, they'll give you what you want.
Yeah.
And at that size, with the Patriots lack a guy like Jaden Higgins, who could be in the later rounds, can be great. You know, Xavier Restrepo is making a big case as a slot, and obviously the connections of, look, he's built just like a Julian Edelman, 5'10", around 200. Josh McDaniels is leading the offense. And then there's Jackson. It's Bach back? Jack
Besh.
Jack Besh. Thank you. Out of TCU. I don't know if he's fast enough to get the separation at the next level. Like, I saw a Puka Nacua comp and I hated it. Like, Puka Nacua is a different type of athlete, but good hands, blocks his ass off in the run game, and knows how to get open. If that's your wide receiver 4, fine. Again, but at his price, if he could be a day 2, 3rd, 4th round pick, Patriots not for me. But like, there are receivers that are moving up and down throughout the Senior Bowl. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to check out Foxborough Rush every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all things Patriots football. Mike Vrabel's staff is taking shape. The Patriots are picking number 4 overall. Got a lot of money to spend. The offseason is heating up. It's available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Twitch, wherever else you get your podcasts. It's Foxborough Rush. New episodes drop in 3 days a week. Now, Trav, Key, we ran through the guys you love. I just quickly went through the receivers that I'm really liking. But Trav's guy, friend of the program.
It's our guy.
One of our favorite interviews we've ever done. But Donovan Ezra-Rakwu of Boston College, led the nation in sacks. I think that's a guy. Cool. I'll say it. I don't really care if I'm embellishing. I don't think anyone's stock will rise higher than his because he's doing interviews out there. He's doing the tape. He's competing against Power 4 guys in other conferences. And I think the character matches the talent. Trav, I'll let you go in on him.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone's falling in love with him.
You're just being humble because you called all this happening after we talked to him. You said, I mean, if this guy has a big season, which he did, just from us even talking to him, getting his vibes, hearing his story, on and off the camera. I mean, we chopped it up with him even after the interview, if you remember, George. And you said, this is a guy who's going to interview well, if he can work out well, if he can have a big season. You thought he would go in the second round. Now there's rumblings he could find his way on the back end of that first round. He's been given all these offensive linemen that we hype up at this Senior Bowl, and some of them we've talked about.
Yeah.
He's been giving them work, giving them the business.
Yep.
6'2", 250. And, I mean, the guy has literally said out of his mouth, I would love to be a Patriot. Where have we heard this before, George? Think about this. Debo said it. A.J. Brown said it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had these great players in the draft come out of their own mouths and say, I want to be a Patriot. This guy's doing it. He's in our own backyard for Boston College. In fact, listen to this straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It will be good. You know, I know the area very well. I've been there for 4 years already, so I definitely wouldn't mind being a Patriot either.
There you go. That says it all, guys. Yeah. That says it all. Pats, make it happen.
And this is a guy, when you watch one-on-one reps, and again, like in a pass setting, this is designed to see how they handle it, but also this is what the test is. It happens in training camp all the time. He went against Josh Conerly, Ariante Ursary, beat them both.
Yep.
Different type of tackles, different sides, left tackle, right tackle, way they were lined up, different types of moves. Because a guy that is same size as Von Miller without the freakish athleticism, we've spoken about him. His fundamentals and technique is so sharp. He's not a guy, and he's a great run defender, but not in a way if he sets an edge, he just beats the tackle and makes plays.
Speed.
Yeah. I just, the character of him is so high. Like, I've been lucky over the years to build some relationships at Boston College. Nothing crazy where, like, you know, I got sources. But when he texts people, hey, I just interviewed Donovan Ezaraku, like, awesome guy. I wish I could talk to him for 2 more hours. And it was just like, the text I got back was A+++ human. Absolutely love him. He's one of a kind. And that's a guy I always like to throw out, you know, like, what's post-game like? What's the celebration? It's like, I play video games and have dinner with my family. Like, he's all business, man. So it's cool to see his stock rise. Guys you get to know personally, obviously, you know, you put on some, what is it, like rose-colored glasses. You have a bias towards them, but like a good human that deserves anything that comes his way. It's cool to see him enter this conversation. And Keagan, this is what makes the Senior Bowl great. Guys like this, getting the interviews, talking to the national media. People don't know him, just he's not a pass rusher from an SEC school, and they're going, oh, wow, this guy's like got it all. Charisma, talent. I mean, just experience, too. Like, it's awesome, man.
Listen, I've never talked to the guy. I wasn't in on those interviews. But one of the things that I came across, just looking at his numbers, he had less snaps this year than last year. Wow. 2023, 2 sacks. 2024, 16 and a half. Like, they put him in a position to succeed for sure. He was, like, second and third, fourth downs. That's when he was playing. He wasn't really playing a ton on early downs. But if you're going to give this guy an opportunity to just go get after the passer, and he's showing up with these numbers against a few NFL caliber left tackles and right tackles, you know, you can only say so much about a guy like that. You really get excited, like, all right, he gets the job done. We know that.
That's right.
Now what can we mold him into? Can he get better than just a straight up pass rusher? But exciting profile for sure.
Yeah, I like him. Hey, one more thing I want to point out. Keagan, I'd like to take a victory lap about R.J. Harvey.
Yeah, no,
we did running backs. You didn't like him. But this is a guy, his pass pro isn't the best. Like, he looks like at times he doesn't care, and you have to be good in pass pro, but his upside is route running and pass catching, and he's just dynamic. 5'9", 210, so he's like really stout, good contact balance. His compact frame is tough to bring him down, good hands, and like he can make plays out of the backfield. Simple as that. When he gets downhill and running, he's good, and he's been shining at the Senior Bowl, Keegs.
Yeah, I saw 5'8", right, when we first talked about him. I was like, nope, all set.
You were out.
You know me and the itty-bitty guy.
I'll let it go.
All right, but 5'8", I'm like, I don't know. Can he really take on the role of being like a full-time running back? I don't care anymore. I'm all set.
Yeah.
The way this dude runs routes is different. Like, James White type, you know, get him in the middle of the field on an option route against a linebacker. He's going to win 10 out of 10 times. They had him doing that at the Senior Bowl. He was making dudes look foolish. Like, all-American, top 100 picks look like idiots. And you could get this dude in the 5th or the 6th round.
Wow.
Love him. I think Josh McDaniels would love him, which I think makes me like him even more because, you know, if an offensive coordinator is going to stick his hand out and say, I want that one? Can I get that one? You know, I trust that they're going to put him in a position to succeed. So I've really enjoyed what I've seen from him, not just on the field at UCF at Virginia, but at the Senior Bowl specifically. A huge riser just this week for me.
Yeah, he didn't go to running back full-time until after his like actual redshirt freshman season, too.
Wow.
You go back to his high school, He played quarterback. He had 23 passing touchdowns, 25 rushing, 1,700 passing yards, 1,300 rushing yards.
Trick plays.
Athlete.
That's what you want out of a quarterback in high school, by the way.
Oh, 1,000%.
Give me the kid that's just a better athlete than everybody
Josh
else.
Jacobs, when he was in high school in Tulsa, they just ran like spread, and he ran it every damn play. He was like, this is the best player. Put the ball in his hands.
Quarterback blast every single play. I love that.
Hey, man, and it worked, man. It got him. The best story on him is that no one was looking at him. Alabama went to watch someone else his high school was playing.
Yeah.
Watched Josh Jacobs play. Alabama offered. All the offers followed. They're like, oh, okay, if Nick Saban sees something, then we're going to get him.
That's classic Saban, man. Saban did that in my old high school. They came to recruit our stud dude on defense. Saban at that time was at Michigan State, and they saw someone else, and they didn't even get the guy they came to see. They ended up getting this other kid. Classic Saban.
That's one of those cool stories that you hear all the time about like certain players. Chris Olave, Saints wide receiver.
Yeah.
He was playing at Ohio State with Kyle McCord in San Diego in high school. They came to see Kyle McCord, and they said, we want the receiver.
Who's that?
If you come, fine, whatever.
That's crazy.
Give me the receiver. I believe it was McCord. It might have been another quarterback.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
These guys who just get found. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's
Yep.
awesome. You think about all the guys who didn't get found.
I know.
That's right.
You know?
Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
I didn't play with any good high school guys. Maybe I would have got found. Who knows?
I don't know, Keeks.
Nah,
I
probably
mean,
not.
I didn't.
Probably not.
I don't know, Keeks. I think this is what you were meant to do, my friend.
Yeah, playing football is definitely not what I was meant to do. If you want to talk about not an athlete, your boy right here, not an athlete.
That's why you shouldn't make fun of Dylan Gabriel either. He looks like he'd go into MMA. All right, we're getting sidetracked here. Hey, if you're enjoying this conversation, but also love hearing all sports, everything Boston, everything around the world of sports, check out Boston has entered the chat wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes dropping 5 days a week. Travis Thomas and I hold it down there. You could also email thechat@nesson.com or tweet at us using the hashtag NessonChat, and that will join the conversation. That is Boston has entered the chat wherever you get your podcast. Available 5 days a week. You could also watch it on Nesson's YouTube page as well. Trav, great combo with our boy Keegs. I got to set him straight, though, man. Like, first he's coming in, celebrating I'm not here.
Yeah.
Then he's insulting all the short kings.
Itty bitty.
That's messed up.
That's just not right.
It's also like Keegan is like 5'10". Like, he's walking around like he's 6
talking
foot.
about, like, in high school, I could have been an athlete. Like, relax, bro. This is what you're supposed to do. There's nothing wrong with being a broadcaster, okay?
Yeah, I know where my place is. I remember it was very, like, specifics. I mean, it wasn't that specific. I was just like, I'm not doing anything in college.
No.
And then senior year, it was like, oh, I like talking about it.
Yeah.
I never shut the F up. That's why I
Right.
always got 18s on my report card.
That's
Needs
right.
to improve behavior.
That's right.
Yeah. And then look at me and you.
Same. I
Look
was
at
like,
us.
I think I was 13.
Who would have thought?
Who would have, look at us.
Paul Rudd
Who would have thunk it? I mean, bro, like, yeah. I was probably like 13, same realization. Like, I'm decent, but I'm not going to go anywhere with this. And mine was more, I would see my friends clam up when it was time to, like, go in front of the class
Yeah.
and answer something or give a presentation.
Yeah.
And I was fine. I wasn't nervous about it. And I said, okay, there's something there. If I could talk to a room full of people, I could talk to a camera. What's the difference?
Yep. Some of the most successful people I know, they give like a quick speech at dinner and they freeze up. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. All right, we got to do a
But
little.
I understand it. We're the weirdos.
Yes.
I actually think that's
Yes.
I think that's common.
Yes.
Right?
1,000%.
We're the weirdos.
We're the outliers.
But that's why we were made to do this.
Yeah.
And not be an athlete. That's why I get mad at fans. When, oh, you should have made that catch. Man,
Go do it.
You're on your couch.
Yeah, right?
Eating Funyuns. Relax.
You know what that is? We got into another life advice on Boston's End of
Oh,
the
it
Chat.
may be time, my friend.
Make sure to email the chat at Nesson.com. We got some emails. We'll get to those next week.
Yeah.
Let's talk free agency, though. So we talked to draft, and I did, prequel it, I guess you'd say, or
Yep.
prelude that, hey, free agency determines a lot.
Yeah.
Patriots' top 5 needs are offensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive line, mainly edge,
Yeah.
corner,
Yep.
and, man, I mean, you can just go the wide receiver double up or playmaker.
Can you say playmaker? Thank you. Athlete.
Off-ball linebacker. They need something everywhere.
Yes.
So, really, the top 3 are tackle, wide receiver.
Yeah.
It's top 2. And then third is edge. But what are some guys, when you look at the top free agents,
Yeah.
who's number 1 on your list? Let's put on the GM hats, or right now, you and I,
Yeah.
we're personnel people. Like, we got, hey, this is the guy we think
Sure
we should
enough.
spend free agency on.
Yeah.
Who's number 1 that you're coming with?
Well, I wanted to go big ticket. So all 3 of these guys, I'm blowing the budget for. Okay, I want to get all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then it changes my draft where I can maybe take best player available, and maybe that's that category we sort of created, George, playmaker, right?
Yeah.
Cam Robinson's number one for me. And I'm not saying he's the greatest offensive lineman I've ever seen, but I will tell you this. Spend the money, get him in here, and if nothing else, he solidifies your line. You can address it still in the draft, but it takes the pressure off of getting one of these guys at 4, or you can even trade back, which I know you love, and acquire more picks, which only enhances your chances of hitting one of those picks and getting a home run hitter, someone who can come in here and be a playmaker if you can acquire more picks. So I think Cam Robinson, paying him what he wants, which is going to be a pretty penny, but you bring him in, and if nothing else, you solidify and stabilize a shaky offensive line. You could sort of build around him at that point. Left tackle too, George.
Boom, bingo. Left tackle is the biggest need. And in a draft where the top 2 prospects and you're picking 4 are both they're kind of small. They could be a guard. They're the question marks.
Yes.
There's no Rashawn Slater.
That's right.
There's no Joe Alt. I know Joe Alt's playing right tackle, but he could have played left tackle.
He could have.
There aren't any of those guys in this upcoming draft, the solid cornerstone of a franchise. Same thought process. I'm going to Alaric Jackson, though.
Okay.
I think he's been so phenomenal at that left tackle spot for the Rams.
Yep.
And Cam Robinson, he's going to be 30 next year. Mm-hmm. Alaric Jackson's going to be 27.
Yep.
This is a guy, you give him a 4 or 5 year deal through the prime of his career while Drake May's under cost control.
Sure.
But he only allowed 25 pressures last season. He's good at run blocking, good at pass blocking, and he's given up 4 sacks the last 2 seasons. So, look, you could pay him, and it works with Drake May. And the big thing is that you pay him. And I get your point at 4. And they could be sitting at 4, and they could go, okay, we're looking at Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. I think at that point, you take Travis Hunter. If you have the 1 or 2nd best prospects in this draft, you take them, right?
Yeah.
They're taking Abdul Carter. I think his upside. They have such a big need for edge and such a high ceiling.
Sure.
But also there is a scenario, and stick with me here, Trav.
Okay.
You sign Alaric Jackson / Cam Robinson. Left tackle is taken care of.
Yeah.
You're sitting at 4. Someone like the Jets wants to move up. So you go back to 7. Okay, you could still get Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, who is a freak, powerful, strong, quick, fast.
Yep.
It's all differences there. It's all different with the frame that front offices covet for an edge rusher.
Yeah.
And instantly that guy can be a hit. So the Alaric Jackson, Cam Robinson, I go Alaric. I think he's a little better. I think he's a little younger.
A little more affordable.
That'll be a higher price.
Yeah.
And either guy, Trav, they're going to have to overpay.
Yeah,
you got all the money. You're not a sought-after destination. These guys want to get paid. You're going to have to overpay, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Do it.
I mean, bro, that's free agency.
Yep.
Right? When you get a big ticket, that's why I said all 3 of mine are big ticket items.
Yeah.
When you get it, I don't care what team you are. When you get a big ticket free agent, you're going to overpay. The great teams pick and choose who they pay. It is with combination of the draft, right? Both first round and late round steals that you bring in 1 or 2 big ticket free agent names, and then you're good to go. So you're going to overpay for anyone. That's just the name of the game. The second person on my list,
speaking of overpaying,
is T. Higgins.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was willing to give him the bag midway through the season. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow went absolutely nuts this season.
Yeah.
And there was T. Higgins, quiet as kept, putting up number 1 wide receiver numbers. He's a human number 1 wide receiver. Jamar Chase is from a different planet. But this guy, I think, in T. Higgins, can go anywhere. I hope it's New England, but I think he can go anywhere looking for a number 1 wide receiver, and I'm willing to pay the cost to take the chance on him being a true number 1. I don't think he's Jamar Chase. I don't think he's Justin Jefferson.
No.
But in this league, you need a bona fide number 1, even if it's not one of those guys.
Yeah, you need a 1. You need a threat.
Yes. If in New England, he is a 1 and a 2. He's an alpha and an omega. But particularly if I'm New England, I'm paying him like a 1. And then if he just gives me the production that he's given the Bengals, I'm in good shape.
Imagine you have a T. Higgins wide receiver 1, Kendrick Bourne 2, knows Josh McDaniel's system. He's going to be now a year plus removed from the ACL tear.
Decent tight ends.
Pop Douglas as your 3, and then Jaden Higgins as your wide receiver 4.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Or whoever emerges from the youngsters, because we'll see.
If they take a step forward. I'm the same thing. T. Higgins is number 2. Look, offensive tackle is the biggest need if you don't have an offensive lineman.
Yep.
And again, one more revisit. Jackson/Robinson at left tackle. Layden Robinson at left guard if he takes that sophomore jump and gets better in pass pro. David Andrews or Cole Strange. David Andrews knows the system, but he's a vet. And he's older, coming off another big injury, or Cole Strange, who looked promising at center. Mike Onwenu, who's back at right guard. And then Caden Wallace jump at right tackle, maybe free agent right tackle, maybe a draft pick. You figure it out there.
Yeah.
So that's why left tackle is my number 1. T. Higgins is my number 2. And everyone think, well, you need a wide receiver. If you can't block, no one's going to catch you if you don't give Drake May time.
That's right.
6'4", 210. No one can outbid the Patriots. No one can outbid the Patriots, so money can't be an excuse. Even if he wants to take a pay cut from the Bengals. Look, cool, yeah, Joe Burrow's like, we're not letting him go. Joe, you work for one of the cheapest ownerships.
Well, they got to pay Jamar.
In sports, you got to pay Jamar, and your owners are cheapest. The reason AJ Green's career fell apart is because they practice on a field of dust.
Yeah.
Like outdoor field underneath a highway in Cincy. But to get back to it, this guy's T. Higgins, walking, talking, 75 catches, 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. As your 1 with Drake May, that's 90, 1,108. That's something the Patriots desperately need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who do you got as your 3?
I'm going Carlton Davis, the corner from the Lions. I mean, this is a veteran guy.
They need cornerback help.
They need corner, and you know, I actually think, and you're going to overpay him too. This is another big ticket player. But as a vet, as a guy who's been around the league, I actually think he would seek out New England. If I'm him and I see the cap space, of course, business is always number 1, George, and I get it. People bang on these players for, they're all about the money. No Shaq, Sherlock. So are you at your job. Do you want a promotion? Do you want a raise? Of course you do. We all do. So I would look at New England if I'm Carlton, and I would say, okay, they have the money to give me a bag. And then they have this freak on the other side of me, and Christian Gonzalez, who is so good. I can go to New England, be a part of a new rebuild here with Vrabel and the gang, and play alongside that kid and get paid. I feel like the sell job to get him to New England isn't that tough, George. And again, he's a veteran player. He's got some miles on him, but he's tough, short tackler. I think he works, and I think he's a perfect, sort of number 2 to Christian Gonzalez. Even though he'd be paid, he would come in here knowing I'm a complimentary piece to that kid who is generational.
Yeah.
Carlton Davis, I think you shore up. At this point, good luck throwing on the Patriots with those 2.
I like Carlton Davis. I mean, he's over 6 feet tall, 28 years old. They'll still get him in the prime of his career, very experienced. And they need help. They need a cornerback too, desperately. They need to draft a corner.
That's right.
But they needed a cornerback too. My third one is actually Darius Slayton, another wide receiver. So I want to double dip in free agency and wide receivers here because I'm done messing around. Like, new regime, get your guys in, establish a culture. And Darius Slayton, 6'1", 195. Is really good over the middle, especially in the intermediate route range. His contested catches, good frame, like long frame, good contested catch, good catch radius. That's one of his strengths. Great in tight windows. You have a quarterback that can be really accurate and throw into tight windows. And more importantly, this is a guy that, what was he doing with the Giants? 50 catches, 700 yards. Yeah. Okay. It was Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, Tyrod Taylor, Mike Glennon. Okay, give him Drake May. Give him Drake May and let him be a wide receiver too. Yeah. And then the trickle down on that makes sense. Pop Douglas, I see him as a slot. Many say he's undersized. Fine. He could be the gadget guy. Line him up all over. Get creative, Yeah. And then, it would be wide receiver 1, T. Higgins, because this is my list. Wide receiver 2, Darius Slayton. 3 is Kendrick Bourne. 4 is Pop Douglas.
I like
and then
that.
you draft some guys too.
Yeah. I like it.
So we'll see. Also, Josh Sweat, if I go outside, of who our top 3 is. Good edge rusher, just 27 years old. He was 20th in pressures in a defense that only rushed 4. So it's not like blitzes were aiding him, but a lot of talent around him. But he's hitting free agency. He'll command around $20 million a year. Dietrich Wise, he's on the back 9. They need help up front, and we'll see what Terrell Williams does with his defense. So we'll go all there. Speaking of Terrell Williams and the defense as well, I also want to make sure, hey, you guys, check out Hold My Banner, wherever you get your podcasts. That's Hold My Banner, hosted by Travis Thomas and Ante Campbell. New episodes dropping twice a week. Latest one, they're talking NBA, trade deadline, WNBA, free agency, offseason trades, all of that going down. Hold My Banner, wherever you get your podcasts. So let's talk about it. I brought up Terrell Williams. So the defensive coaching staff, A lot of guys familiar with Mike Vrabel: Terrell Williams, Zach Kerr, Clinton McMillan, and Scott Booker. All those guys had overlaps with Vrabel, mainly in Tennessee. Terrell Williams was his guy. I mean, everyone saw him becoming the DC, and I love the hire. A lot of experience. And that's one thing of what people are saying is like, well, Mike Vrabel's bringing in like all his guys. What do you make of this, Trav, how they're building out the staff where we see guys like Mike Pellegrino, cornerbacks coach, who Keegan and I have raved about, loved him. The work he's done with undrafted free agents to vets that have taken off under his tutelage as a coach. Brian Belichick leaving, who Devin McCourty loved, and a guy that started, in 2016 just as a coaching assistant, rose through the ranks to be the safeties coach. They're gone. Vrabel's bringing in his guys. What do you make of how he's assembling his staff so far?
I mean, I just think people who are taking shots at Vrabes for bringing in his guys are insane. That's what I think. I mean, think about any industry. George, we see it in ours all the time.
Yeah.
There are changes at the top in leadership. Of course they want to bring in their people. Why wouldn't they? Now, usually in most industries, there's a time when you get a chance to sort of earn your roster spot, so to speak, and they assess whether or not they want to keep you or not.
Yeah.
But this is the NFL we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you blow out a coaching staff, a new one comes in. That's the way it goes, brah.
Yeah.
And when your new head guy comes in this case it's Mike Vrabel, he's going to want people he's familiar with, he's worked with, he knows, he trusts. There are alliances there. Of course. I actually look at it from a different end of the spectrum where I'm like, what's the problem with him bringing in his guys? I anticipate when I hire someone at the head of a corporation, or in this case, Vrabel's the CEO of the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
I want him to be surrounded by guys he trusts, by his team of dudes. So it doesn't shock me at all. I'm more shocked at the pushback on, well, Vrabel's just bringing in his guys. Well, what did you think was going to happen? He was just going to keep all the staff? Now, some of these hirings around this league, depending on who the coach is, and we saw this with Gerard Mayo, hey, you're the coach, sure, but this is your guy here, this is your guy. You almost inherit whatever the owner wants. But those never work, George.
Yep.
Never. When you get a real coach, when you get someone who has experience, who knows what they're doing, who has a clue upstairs, they're going to want to bring in their own people. I have zero issue with Vrabel bringing in his own guys. There's a flip side to the coin, though, George.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If you regress, if this thing goes to hell in a handbasket, even worse, I think we're at rock bottom. But if they win 2 games next year.
And it wasn't working, though.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The flip side is if it doesn't work.
Yeah, I understand.
And your coach brought in his peeps, well, it's on the coach, right?
Yeah,
so there's that side of it, George. Yeah. But as far as bringing in your guys, I don't have an issue with it.
Hey, here's part of the discussion. We got some sound right here. It's Mike Giardi on Patriots Press Pass from the Senior Bowl talking about the coaching staff.
So for me, it's more about who's leaving, right?
Right.
Brian Belichick and Mike Pellegrino both out, and there had been some discussions about maybe them staying on board, but in fact, both guys are out. We actually ran into Pellegrino down here because now he's looking for a job. Those guys are good coaches. And I know, like Brian, no one wanted to talk about it because, especially at the end with Bill and the disdain for Bill and how things went, and then Steven and his sort of odd ways and all that. But Brian's been a really good safeties coach, coached a lot of different guys. You talked to Devin McCourty, Duron Harmon, Jabril Peppers. You talked to Del Pettis this year. Like, all of those guys speak very highly of him. He knows his ball, and he knows how to reach them. And I think when you look at this team this year, how many young players, aside from the quarterback, actually developed? Very few. Del Pettis was one of those guys. And actually, Marte Mapu near the end of the year had some moments, right, where, and I don't know if he's a long-term fit here in New England, but, like, there was some growth there. And I think some of that is attributed to Brian. And when it comes to Pellegrino, like, he's a damn good cornerbacks coach. I know it's like the Felger and Maz, he's a lax bro, and he was. But he turned out to be a pretty damn good football coach. And Coach Gilmore, Coach J.C. Jackson, Coach Gonzalez, like, invested in those guys. If you ever see the all 22s on the sidelines, he loses his mind during the game for his guys. And just that sort of intensity, I think, shined and helped develop players like Alex Austin, who maybe we looked at in the beginning and said, he's not any good. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, he might have a chance. And I think, again, there's talent there, obviously, but Pellegrino gets an assist.
And that's Mike Pellegrino, helped develop guys like a J.C. Jackson. Jonathan Jones took off once he was a cornerbacks coach. Jalen Hawkins, another guy, had his ups and downs, but playing well as a free safety, and a lot of them playing in chaos. Brian Belichick, I just see like how can you continue to move forward if you're going to have a Belichick in your building? But I don't think he would have, been someone that rotted the culture from within. Mike Pellegrino, that's a big loss. I know he was beloved in that building. And that's a guy, though, the Patriots always ran really thin, when it came to pay. Probably wanted to get paid.
Yeah.
And you know what? Didn't hear the number he liked, so he's going to go elsewhere, and whoever lands him will be very lucky. I think, coaches will call Bill Belichick and at least listen to him when it comes to defensive coaching, recommendations.
Sure.
New York Giants, I wouldn't be surprised if he lands with Brian Dable over there. And Ryan Cowden, who knows Mike Vrabel. Hey, he's Travis Thomas. I'm George Balekji. This is Foxborough Rush. Thanks for making us a part of your day. We'll see you guys Monday morning, folks.